With AI, you have these huge data banks of data across multiple hospitals and sites. You start to see patterns that no single person could ever be able to really capture.
Artificial intelligence is transforming nearly every aspect of our lives, opening up new opportunities and possibilities. In healthcare, a field urgently in need of innovation, AI is already making significant strides. But how is this technology actually enhancing your health, well-being, and even affecting your healthcare costs? I'm Annabelle Murphy, a journalist partnering with Fujifilm to bring you the Toward Tomorrow interview series. We've travelled across Europe to speak with experts, from doctors, researchers and entrepreneurs to understand the impact of AI on healthcare. We'll explore how this groundbreaking technology is being applied and what it means for you. As we explore these advancements, we'll also discuss the challenges and ethical issues that come with it. So let's begin by examining AI's current role and its transformative potential in healthcare.
AI is new. It's completely new and no one saw that coming, and that's in the last few years. And what I think it does is it builds on the accelerating progress in recent decades, and it's like to speed us up, because if you can harness it in terms of discovering new targets, new drugs, new people who will gain the benefit, then you'll be able to speed up the innovation in space. And that expectation is really fueling confidence and capabilities, and that's why the research is happening much, much quicker than recent years.
AI-driven innovations are significantly improving the likelihood of developing new healthcare treatments because they allow scientists to minimize experimentation. They allow them to reduce waste and use computer-simulated models to test molecules, for example.
The millennia of software over the past 50, 60 years meant that we do have our full genetic map laid out. But the reality is, this has never been an issue of collecting data. It has been how we can process the data.
I think at the moment you're relying on typically a single doctor who's seen a couple thousand patients in their kind of medical career. Whereas with AI, you have these huge data banks of data across multiple hospitals and sites. You start to see patterns that no single person could ever be able to really capture.
And therefore, as long as you give it enough data, you can find the right answer relatively quickly because it's been trained. The potential here exists that actually, as long as you're given it a training bank, then you can develop drugs quicker. So you don't need to spend so much money before you know that drug doesn't work. You could say, well, actually, based on previous patterns, it will not work, therefore you stop it, or this one's looking like a new blockbuster drug, let's push on with it. And that's the potential for AI, its ability to learn much, much quicker than we're able to, and share that information.
Of course, data analysis is crucial in helping doctors understand their patients better, but AI offers much more.
One of the key things that we're seeing it in lung cancer is in the interpretation of CT scans. So when we scan a patient, it's really helpful to have AI algorithms having a look at that scan to say, is there an abnormality here that needs urgent attention? So that's one issue. The second thing is that when we find an abnormality on a scan, we're really hoping that AI algorithms are going to be able to tell us what that abnormality is. Is it a cancer or is it not a cancer?
Another really interesting part of that space is causal AI, and it's a new field, and it tries to really isolate what are the key variables. Is it their, for instance, cardiovascular health? Is it their the diet that they're having at the moment? Is it the exercise? What are actually the root causes of these diseases? And I think that's becoming quite an interesting space where things like causal AI that are able to understand the root cause analysis.
AI can be a game changer in developing new treatments, enhancing clinical decision-making and streamlining patient care. It's also simplifying administrative tasks, freeing up valuable time of clinicians.
So you reduce the time on simple clinical documentation tasks, whether that be pre-screening, history note-taking, and it allows the clinician to have a more focused kind of human-to-human interaction with the patient when they actually have the patient in their clinic. And then as well, it allows this follow-up because a lot of patients are managing chronic conditions. It's not that they just need a one-off treatment with the clinician and one-off visit. They need this continuous support, continuous monitoring, continuous kind of engagement with their care. And by using AI, through various apps and conversations, they feel supported when they also leave the hospital. And that's more focused on the kind of preventative, trying to not have the condition get to the point where it's an acute deterioration and they need to go into A&E. You can catch that a little bit earlier by supporting and monitoring in the community.
And I think the other way it might help is around the paperwork, because actually it is right that there's a lot of paperwork in clinical trials, but actually it may completely streamline this process because it's easier than ever to fill in the right documents, to collect the right information, make it available to make the right decisions.
However, the use of AI in healthcare also introduces challenges such as data bias and privacy concerns. So with this in mind, we need to ask ourselves, are AI models in the healthcare world truly diverse and fair?
You need data from multiple different sites, multiple different types of population, demographics. You don't want a model that's just trained on, for instance, a specific hospital in London, because you're not going to get the variety that it needs to know that that model is going to work when you transplant that to a rural area in a different country. So a big question comes around, how do we build and bring together data from multiple different sources? There's a lot of European level policies that are coming into play, but another angle is looking at synthetic data. So taking the data that we have from patients and transforming it enough that there's no way to trace it back to the original patient that provided that data. So they feel like their personal information is protected. So that's a really, really important areas that we need to be testing and evaluating the models and constantly saying, is this a fair model for everyone in our population?
So given these risks of using AI in healthcare, what solutions are available? How can we integrate AI into real-world applications while ensuring we manage these challenges effectively?
At the moment, I think we'll all agree that healthcare is in a challenging position. So we have an aging population, we have more diagnoses, particularly of cancer and other complex disorders, and we have far better evidence-based treatments that are unfortunately more costly. If we put all of this together, we're heading for significant trouble in healthcare systems. I think AI is one important solution that we need to embrace. I think it's fair to say within healthcare, we're not particularly dynamic at embracing change, perhaps particularly change that nobody fully understands. I think we have to start embracing AI and other technologies and leverage those technologies into healthcare. And I think we just have to be braver. And we have to, yes, understand the negative consequences, but I think we also do have to embrace the potential positive benefits. It's only, I think, by innovating and research that we're going to be able to keep up with the demands of that healthcare is putting on our systems currently.
Tech bio is eating the word. And this is sort of a very similar to what happened back in the early 90s, where software ate the word and changed the way we understand so many different industries. We need to equip those that are championing the industry, the SCI entrepreneurs, the academic entrepreneurs. Firstly, lower the entry barriers to incentivize as many of them, becoming comfortable enough to spare some of their time into pursuing the commercial potential of the research, providing them with sufficient capital and funding throughout the entire trajectory of the development of the asset or company. It's not just about giving the first chunk of money, but also making sure that they have access to significantly larger pools of capital that would help them nurturing their companies, making sure that the market is ready enough for the innovation to join the workflow of the healthcare service provision.
So as AI begins to make a tangible impact today, what might the future hold? How could this technology develop? For example, what will your role be in the management of your health? How will you interact with your doctor in the future? And how will your doctor interact with you? All of these issues and experiences will be impacted by AI.
So no one really knows how AI is going to transform healthcare, but it has to transform all the other sectors that I've seen. But actually the potential benefit for patients is that firstly, drugs could be developed more efficiently. You might have better prediction algorithms to try and spot disease before you know about it. And maybe your interaction in healthcare may completely change. So it might be that you have instantaneous access to healthcare professionals and their knowledge through these new technologies, and that will be a game changer.
So I feel AI is going to transform all parts of the healthcare journey. It's going to empower patients to be able to support their care in the community themselves. It's going to empower the clinicians to unlock a lot more time for them. It's going to support them in the decision-making, taking into account millions of different variables.
So I think more precise diagnosis, faster diagnosis, reduce healthcare use in certain settings, but also streamline and prioritise.
To make all of this a reality, it's important for all the key players in the ecosystem to work together and use this transformative potential of AI to make the healthcare system healthier and brighter for the future.